Howdy, I'm Malachi the Miner. Would you like to hear the true story of the bandit known as Black Bart, the thief that robbed 28 stagecoaches, the most in California history? Well, it was July 1875, and the Wells Fargo stagecoach was struggling up a steep hill from the Stanislaus River Ferry. As the horses slowed down to go around a sharp bend, a strange-looking figure sprang from cover and stopped the stage. The robber was wearing a dusty, long white coat, and his head was covered with a flour sack that had eye holes cut out of it. He ducked behind the lead horse, aimed his double-barreled shotgun at the driver's head, and said, "Please throw down the box." This crime spree continued for 8 years. Who was Black Bart? Would you like to know? Well, pull up a chair and I'll tell you his story. Well, he is born Charles Bole and lived in upstate New York. When he was 20 years old, in 1849, news of California's fabulous gold discovery reached the East Coast, and Charlie got the fever, the gold fever, and he set out for California's gold country. Traveling overland, it took a year to get to the North Fork of the American River, and it was hard work there. Icy, cold water, back breaking, pick and shovel and sluice and pan. Charlie gave up and returned back east after just a year. Then, in 1852, the lure of the gold pulled Charlie back to California, and he mined for another 2 years. But you know what? Mining was still hard, so he quit again. So Charlie travels once again back to Illinois, and he ends up finding a nice gal. He got hitched and had 4 kids while he was working on a farm. After fighting in the Civil War, Charlie tried farming for a while, but then he hankered for more gold mining yet again. So he left his family and he traveled west to get rich quick. His wife lost touch with him, and after many months with no word from Charlie, she figured he was dead. But he wasn't dead, just dead tired of hard work. Now, about the time of the first Black Bart robbery, Mr. Bolton moved to San Francisco. He was a slick-talking man that dressed like a dude. He sported a derby, and his lapel was decked out with a diamond stick pin. He had a diamond ring that was big, and he toted a fancy cane wherever he went. He loved San Francisco's high life, the restaurants, nightlife, and rubbing elbows with other big shots. He bragged to folks that he was a mine owner and frequently had to travel on business. But really, his business was snatching Wells Fargo express boxes. During one of his robberies, a terrified lady passenger pitched out her fancy purse from the coach's window, and while he kept his shotgun trained on the driver, Black Bart returned the handbag and said this: "I don't want your money, only the Wells Fargo express box and the mail." Well, the newspapers of the day made out like he was almost a hero, and they nicknamed him the Gentleman Bandit. Black Bart also left 2 poems for the lawman to discover. One of them goes like this: Here I lay me down to sleep, to wait the coming morrow, perhaps success, perhaps defeat, and everlasting sorrow. Yet come what will, I'll try it once. My conditions can't be worse, and if there's money in that box, 'tis money in my purse. And he signed it, Black Bart, the poet. Now, Black Bart's last robbery was on the very same run as his first holdup. But this time, things went a little bit differently. See, Wells Fargo Company had gotten smarter. Now, after asking the stage driver to toss down the express box, the driver replied, "I can't throw down the box because it's bolted to the inside of the cab." Bart forced the driver to unhitch his horses and walk them up the hill and around the corner and stay there for an hour. Now, while Charlie was slowed up trying to chop into the box, a hunter with a rifle spied the stagecoach driver who was stranded with his horses on the road. And as Black Bart come out of the stage, he saw the two fellers and skedaddled for the brush. Bang, bang, bang. On the third rifle blast, the bandit stumbled and he disappeared into the brush. The men tried to follow Bart, but all they found was a couple of blood-stained letters from the mailbag and no sign of the bandit. Well, a couple of hours later, the lawmen carefully searched the area of the scene of the crime, and they found a passel of clues, including a kerchief marked with FX07. You see, back then, most single men didn't do their own wash, so the laundries needed a way to identify each piece so they could return it to the rightful owner. Now, these clues was given to the Wells Fargo Company. The Wells Fargo detectives inspected these clues and began visiting every single one of the 91 laundries that were located in San Francisco. But the detectives struck gold at the Ferguson and Biggs laundry. There, the clerk said, "Oh, sure, that's Mr. Bolton's handkerchief." This led to the capture of Mr. Bolton on the streets of San Francisco. And when the detectives searched Mr. Bolton's lodgings, they discovered his true name. They found a Bible, and it had a personal inscription inside. It said, "This Bible is presented to Charles Bole, 1st Sergeant, 116th Illinois Volunteer Infantry by his wife, Decatur, Illinois, 1865. 18 days later, after the last Black Bart robbery, Bowles began serving his sentence in San Quentin Penitentiary. And years later, when he was released from prison, Wells Fargo detectives trailed him to a Visalia hotel where Black Bart vamoosed and was never seen again. Black Bart was a big celebrity, but was he a gentleman like the newspaper said? Just think about this. While he was living a fancy life in San Francisco, his wife was left to care for her 4 children as a dressmaker. The Bible that Black Bart kept should have been taken to his heart. It warns us that we best be watching out for those who talk pretty but only care about themselves. Proverbs 26:23 says, "Pretty words may hide a wicked heart, just as a pretty silver glaze covers over a common clay pot." Look out for slick-talking dudes who only care about themselves, and remember that helping others feels a whole lot better than tricking folks just to get something you want. Well, This is Malachi the Miner. I'll see you next time with the story of another colorful character from California's history.